This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Really loud. That's really loud. Hi, everybody. It is the After Party Live. Thank you for your patience. It is a Waterfall Wednesday, and so we will be partaking of some waterfalls today. Hopefully that'll be a little relaxing. On the Mark Thompson Show, there's this little tiny bug that's flying around my studio, and it's like a little bigger than a gnat, but it's got wings, and it went right up my nose toward the end of the show. And apparently it came out because, and I, kind of coughed, and I didn't see it come out, but it came out, and now it's still flying around. So every time it flies around, I'm like, oh no, don't go back up. Anyway, too much information. Speaking of too much information, I mentioned that on Monday, I got a COVID and flu shot, both together, both in the same arm. It's happened to me before, and usually I handle it. It's fine. Last night, I got really sick, like spiked a temperature, and everything was horrible. Things are much better today, but I'll use that as the excuse as to why I didn't put the Law and Disorder in the Mark Thompson Show rundown. Thank you for being here on the After Party Live. We have some stories for you, but I want to start with one story that just kind of broke this morning, and it is the passing of James Van Der Beek at the age of 48 years old. I know it's perhaps a surprise to those who weren't following, but he'd been diagnosed with colorectal cancer at stage 3. He said he'd been dealing with it privately, getting treatment, but it got worse and worse and worse. And he was detailing this cancer journey that he was on Instagram, and he did not survive this. Of course, James Van Der Beek, known for Dawson's Creek. He was also on Varsity Blues. I think he had done some movies as well. And had a lot of kids. I don't know how many kids he had. Several kids, 6 kids. His wife and 6 kids he has survived by. So again, was 48 years old. James Van Der Beek passes away after a battle with colorectal cancer. I wanted to show you this picture of something uncovered in Pompeii, and it kind of looks like just scratches on a wall. And it is, but it's also a love note, an old love note that pops out from history, except for we don't know who this person loved. So archaeologists say they've identified this 2,000-year-old love note, the traces of it still etched into a wall in ancient Pompeii. They did some advanced imaging technology, or used some technology to take a closer look. And they found 79 new pieces of graffiti on a wall in the city's theater district. And it was too faint to read before they used the imaging technology. And now they know what some of the things say. So this woman named Erato, 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 had reached this long passageway covered with graffiti and carved her own message into the wall. And it says this: Erato amat. In English, that's Erato loves, and instead of knowing who she loves, that name is missing. So Erato loves person X. We don't know. That part lost to history, but her note is one of 300 surviving inscriptions etched into this wall in Pompeii before it was buried by ash when Mount Vesuvius blew in 79 CE. But that explosion really preserved this city. So we collectively have found homes, baths, gardens, benches, villas, frescoes that we've shown here on the After Party Live. The excavations in Pompeii have been going on since the 18th century, and they've known about this wall since 1794. They knew there were 200 graffiti inscriptions in this area, but many of them were just too faint to be read. But now they have some help with this imaging technique called RTI, reflectance transformation imaging. So it involves combining images taken with a different light source, and researchers have deciphered 79 additional inscriptions. Now, some parts of the wall are just too worn away to be seen, but it's so interesting what happens when you use the reflectance transformation imaging, or RTI, to look at the images, because you go from this, which, I mean, who knows what that says, right? To this. And I mean, incredible. This technology is incredible. Look at that. So you can see the parts of the wall that are worn away. We'll never know what that says. But the parts that we can see, pretty amazing. The historian at the University of Quebec at Montreal says it sheds light on the way that theaters were used as public spaces in the Roman world, because this is all in their old theater district. So they combined the RTI images with metadata and photogrammetry, and researchers created this new online tool allowing for closer examination of these inscriptions. They've published their findings in the journal Scavi di Pompeii, and their project is called Corridor Rumors because of all the writings along this corridor. The tool is being that they use to do this is being debuted this year, and then will eventually be available to the public. And the director of the archaeological park in Pompeii says technology is the key, shedding new light on this ancient world. Only the use of technology can guarantee a future for all of this memory of life lived in Pompeii. The scholars looking at all of this say that Erato's message, Erato loves, one of the newly identified inscriptions, is consistent with the wall's previously known etchings. One says, "I'm in a hurry. Take care, my Sava. Make sure you love me." Someone else wrote, "Loves Cresto in her heart." So it looks like this is a place where you leave messages of love for people. So interesting. There's another piece that showed the drawing of two gladiators, each 4 inches tall, one holding a sword and shield, leaning backward to maybe represent a feint or parry, according to the study. The movement depicted, the twisting of the left gladiator's chest, seems unique and appears to be reminiscent of an experience or a spectator at the amphitheater. They also are liking another image depicting gladiatorial combat on a wall. This one looks like it might be a woman who was drawn wearing a helmet with a shield that says, "Few female gladiators." So that's interesting. This passageway is 90 feet long, and it once connected two theaters in ancient Pompeii, and they think it was a place for passing through, walking, chatting, spending time, maybe socializing. And the passersby would scrawl graffiti over the wall's entire length. And while many of the etchings have been lost because the plaster came off the wall, it seemed like it was kind of a notice board where you would leave messages, history greetings, insults, drawings, all kinds of things. The wall, they say, is a rich example of Pompeii's graffiti, but they say similar markings have been found all over the city. There have been more than 11,000 inscriptions, including political commentary, declarations of love, sporting slogans, jokes, and poems, all found uncovered in Pompeii. I have a picture of the walkway where the socializing and the drawing and the insults happened. And it's so interesting just to see the picture. Imagine if you were standing here, but check out this picture, because you can just imagine what went on in that passageway, and the leaning down and the etching and the writings and the socializing. Kind of like the Halfman place, the it place to be, this little walkway. Anyway, wanted to share that with you. Found it so interesting. I have a story about the oldest cockatiel in the world. Look at this little old lady, 33. She belongs to an Illinois family, or she's part of an Illinois family. And she is now, by Guinness World Records standards, the oldest bird of his species. I say she, it's a he. His name is Sonny, and he's officially been named the oldest bird of his species by Guinness World Records. So Sonny officially got the record at the age of 32 years and 292 days in October. But in January, Sonny celebrated his 33rd birthday. He came to live with this family when he was just a few weeks old in 1993. Showed an aptitude for music, learned to whistle songs from Bridge Over the River Kwai, knows the theme from the Andy Griffith Show. The family says that Sonny used to do duets with family members while they showered, and he sat on the vanity. He used to have a large vocabulary, but now it's down to just a few words with lots of babbling. Sonny's good health credited to a long life, a healthy diet, and plenty of social engagement. He's a great companion, according to the family. He socializes with anyone that pays attention to him. The couple travels a lot. Sonny kept company. One of the members of the couple, the husband, travels a lot. So Sonny always kept the wife company, made her laugh. Sonny is paper trained, so he only has to go into his cage, eat seed, drink water, and take naps. And he usually spends waking hours outside of his cage, sitting on various sized perches, and in the evening sits on the wife's knee while she's watching TV. Sonny, the oldest known cockatiel, 33 years old. Happy birthday month, Sonny. Look at that little old guy. Still doing well. Interesting animal story I found as well with a gray wolf in Los Angeles. This is the first time in a century that they have seen a gray wolf visit Los Angeles County. They call it a major milestone in species recovery. It's a 3-year-old female wolf. They named her Bay, B-E-Y, Bay 03F. And sadly, they think that she's probably in LA looking for a mate, and she's probably not going to find one. But this is a milestone for the gray wolf species, which for a long time had been nowhere seen in California. She was spotted the morning of February 7th in the town of Neenach in the northwestern part of LA County. The wolf traveled a long way to get here because she was born in Plumas County in the northeastern part of California, 400 miles from LA County. They're not sure how she spent her first 2 years of life, but last May, she was spotted in Tulare County. Then they gave her a GPS collar, and about a week ago, she left that area, headed south, crossed a desert before she made her way into LA County. And she's still on the move. She has not found a mate and a suitable habitat. That's because she's still on the move. If she had found either of those things, she probably would have stopped. But they've made a huge comeback, gray wolves. Before the arrival of Europeans, an estimated 250,000 to 2 million gray wolves roamed the contiguous part of what is now the United States. That's according to the Smithsonian Magazine. By the mid-20th century, nearly all gray wolves had been extirpated from the region because of trapping, habitat loss, and hunting. And they were wiped out of California by the 1920s. We had none. Then over the last 2 decades, their numbers started coming back a little bit because of the Endangered Species Act of 1973 and the reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone National Park in the 1990s. So now about 6,000 of these animals live in the contiguous states, and 70 of them, only 70, live in California. There are 9 confirmed packs in the state of California, but they're still considered endangered, both in California and in the United States. There's, of course, a lot of tension with ranchers over the protection of these animals, which can sometimes attack herds. So last year, the predators killed 198 livestock animals in California, one pack responsible for 90 of those deaths. Some ranchers say there are good wolves and bad wolves. Just wolves trying to survive. Wolves doing what wolves do, right? The movement of this wolf, though, if she doesn't find success, a good habitat, good place to live, and a mate, which is not likely because of where she is, could cause her to turn around and head north along the Sierra Nevada mountains. And they're worried because that puts her more at risk of getting hit by a car. The highest known mortality for wolves in California, vehicle strikes. So there are people rooting for her, watching her movements, and hoping that she survives it. But yeah, for the first time in a century, you've got a gray wolf in Los Angeles County. Here's an interesting story about a forgotten hand tool. It was a little tiny awl, 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 that was discovered, gosh, so long ago. But at that point, archaeologists didn't know exactly what it was they had found, discovered 100 years ago. And now finally, archaeologists realize this little tool actually has some pretty big implications. So here's a picture of it, and you can see it's kind of like a bow, looks like a bow being used to cut something. What is it? Why is it important? Well, it is important and had been forgotten for quite some time. And it was found in a cemetery in Upper Egypt. The cemetery dating back to the 4th millennium BCE. A small, unrecognizable artifact in the grave of an adult male. Unrecognizable because they didn't know what it was, didn't know what it did. So it's about 2.5 inches long, and they didn't know what it was. Researchers at the University of Cambridge at the time cataloged it as a little awl, AWL, awl of copper, with some leather thong wound around it. And they stored it in the institution's Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology. And now they're taking another look at it, re-examining, and realizing this little awl is a lot more significant and could actually rewrite ancient Egyptian history. There's this new study published in the journal Egypt and the Levant. This team, led by Newcastle University archaeologists, say this is actually Egypt's earliest known example of a bow drill. And if that's true, it pushes the tool's creation back by more than 2,000 years. These ancient Egyptians are famous, of course, for their stone temples and painted tombs and dazzling jewelry. But behind those achievements are their everyday technologies that don't usually survive the archaeological record. One of the most important was the drill, a tool used to pierce wood, stone, and beads, and enabled everything from furniture making to ornament production. So they say this residual leather strap is all that remains of a bowstring, in which a handler would spin by pulling back and forth on a bow. So they looked at the tool's overall condition, and they think it displays damage consistent with regular use. It has rounded edges, a subtle curve at the working end, and light scratch marks. And the condition suggests it was a bow drill. They did some X-ray scans of it. They think it was manufactured using a strange copper alloy because it has arsenic and nickel with notable amounts of lead and silver. And that would have produced a harder, visually distinctive metal compared with standard copper. The lead and silver could hint at deliberate alloying choices, and maybe wider networks of materials or know how linking Egypt to a broader ancient Eastern Mediterranean way back in the 4th millennium BCE. So before they analyzed this and came to this conclusion, bow drills were only documented during later areas of Egyptian history. Now we know they were around 2,000 years before we thought. The analysis providing strong evidence this object was used as a bow drill, which would have produced a faster, more controlled drilling action than simply pushing or twisting an awl-like tool by hand. And it suggests that Egyptian craftspeople mastered reliable rotary drilling more than 2 millennia before some of the best preserved drill sets. They were doing things long before we ever even realized it. All right. I want to talk about this AI powered cognitive bloom device. Why and what and how? Why would you need this thing? Let me show you a picture of it. This is supposed to provide an opportunity for you to engage in self-reflection. It's an AI tool for deep contemplation. It's called the Cognitive Bloom. And it is uh, a device that sits in your home, and it invites daily rituals of reflection. And if you keep up the habit, you can grow a virtual garden in response. It consists of two elements, the pond and the garden, which all sit nested together. You pick up the pond when you want to take a quiet moment for self reflection. And then the device aids you by showing prompts in the form of a word stream, which apparently is supposed to help you reflect on life or things you want to think about. You know, if you needed a tool to help you think, here's one of the word streams they have. It says hello. I don't know how this helps us, but okay. So the word stream encourages interaction without pressure, and unlike some other AI platforms, avoids flattering the user, like, hey, you're looking really good today, or becoming an echo chamber by repeating what you say back to you. Rather than simply reinforcing your existing thoughts or patterns, the pond aims to gently broaden your perspective, supporting independent thinking and personal growth. Which, if you think that AI can do that, I don't know. I have questions about AI. Rather than simply reinforcing your existing thoughts or patterns, the pond aims at gently broadening your perspective by supporting independent thinking and personal growth, with the goal ultimately to create a reflective companion that supports your individual process without overpowering or steering too narrowly. So, your word stream is personalized by anything you say to the pond, and a microphone is activated when the device is picked up. So the minute you grab it, it's listening. The interaction begins when you press and hold the bezel and tilt the device toward a quadrant on the screen. You choose a type of reflection, either critical thinking, emotional support, self understanding, decision making, and then Pond begins communication using full sentences, but showing them broken down into single words displayed one at a time at a speed that can be adjusted on this device. Content is written in the first person, such as something like, how did I feel about whatever, thing X? The decision to scroll through the words individually came while they were exploring methods of improving cognitive function and efficiency. Even when the speed is slowed down to a more comfortable pace, the benefits of focus still remain. So they say it became a perfect way to output dialogue and create a lovely analogy between your stream of consciousness and the pond itself. So, as well as speaking their responses back to Pond, users might like to journal or reflect in other ways. Speaking has the advantage of shaping Pond's word stream, informed by the current conversation, past conversations, and it's all stored locally in the device and not in the cloud. Do you need this thing? Depending on how often you use your pond, virtual plants will grow in the corresponding garden module to encourage regular interaction. So the more you talk to it, the more little plants it grows. I don't know why you need it. I just don't know why you need it. Who has time to sit down and talk to this AI device just to get plants to grow? I mean, sometimes I think they maybe this has some type of um, use in some other way, and this is part of a developing technology. Here's the plants that grow around the pond. More you talk to it, more plants you get. I don't know if that motivates you, but there you go. I don't know. I don't know why. I have the question is to me why. So yes, they grow the plants on the with the garden module to encourage regular interaction. A safe, non-commercial space to explore the technology thoughtfully, away from the usual time pressures and constraints. It allows you to ask more fundamental questions about the right things to do and what the right things to do with AI actually are. They say 1 in 3 people, adults, already use AI chatbots like GPT for mental health support, even though they weren't really designed for that task. So maybe there's something to it. I don't know. I don't I don't have a use for it. I'm going to the chat. Would you sit around? And must admit, I'm not impressed. I don't grasp the concept, says Tammy. I just talk to my plants. Thank you. I guess the plants don't answer back like the AI does. I don't know. Then do the plants die if you ignore it? Probably. So it's a tape recorder? Well, it listens to you and it learns from what you've said in the past. So, I don't know. Alexa is programmed to play relaxing music for my dog if he barks. That's kind of cool. I don't know. Mobius says, I tried asking Alexa because I was still in bed, but we had a big argument. Alexa. That is rewarding object addiction, says Tammy. That is exactly right. Mobius says this might work for a very chatty 4-year-old. Ricky says there are no right things to do with AI. Yeah, I think Tammy said that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know why you would need this. It seems like a waste of time and money. No, to each their own, right? All right, let's take a look at some waterfalls, should we? Oh, it is time for, hold on, I have it. Waterfall Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And today we go to Guatemala for a look at some beautiful waterfalls. I have the 9 best waterfalls in Guatemala. And here is the first one. It is called Los Siete Altares. This is an area, and they say there's some of the best ponds to swim in. The water is clean and refreshing, close to the beach. Los Siete Altares, a total adventure. And there is a waterfall. It's called the 7 Altars. To get to the town of Los Siete Altares, you have to go through several iconic places like Isabel Lake and Rio Dulce, and you get to Livingston on the shore of Amatique Bay. Very interesting. It's a really cool little beach town. And then from the town to get to the waterfall, it's about a 5-kilometer hike. And they say, make sure you reach the 7th waterfall because it's the most spectacular of all, pictured here. Plus, you can swim here as a final reward. So, this is the 7 altars, Los Siete Altares, and it sure is a beautiful waterfall. Okay, the next one on the list is called Finco Pareso Waterfall. It's a hot waterfall with a pool where you can take a swim. So it's a hot spring and it's a waterfall. And here is a picture of it. You can see all the people in there swimming in the hot springs. Finca Paraiso, one of the best natural hot springs in Guatemala, located near Isabel Lake. The water stream nearby is cold, making a perfect contrast to the hot water. So you can take a swim in both if you want. The area is packed with trees and animals, making it one of the hidden gems in Guatemala. There is an entrance fee, which is about $2. To get there from Guatemala City, you've got to take a shuttle or drive yourself 7 hours to Lake Isabel, where you'll need to stay the night. But there's also the Finca Paraiso Hotel right on the shores of the lake. So once you get there, it wouldn't be too easy or too hard to find. Hands down, they say the most unique waterfall in Guatemala because of the hot springs and the cold water as well. The next one is called El Salto de Chalasco. Perfect day trip from Antigua. The falls are located in the Baja Verapaz department of Guatemala, right in the middle of a cloud forest. Oh, yes, look at that. That's a pretty one. I'm down for a cloud forest. Every country claims to have the biggest or highest waterfalls, but in Guatemala, according to Go Guatemala Travel, the locals of this area claim this is the highest waterfall in Central America at 130 meters. We know the highest waterfall in Central America is actually in Belize, but that's okay. You could take a shuttle, drive yourself, but you do need a guide for this one. It's not recommended to be visited solo. There are tourist information center. You can hire a guide. There's a $2 admission fee there as well. This is El Salto de Chalasco. The next one is Las Conchas Waterfall, a series of large limestone pools made from waterfalls on the Chiu River. Take a look at this one, Las Conchas Waterfalls. How beautiful. I bet that's so loud and overpowering almost. 50 kilometers east of Isabel. It's in a pretty remote area, so they say it's a good idea to spend the night at a nearby hotel. The waterfalls are really popular. A lot of people come out on the weekends to see them. The area is now a natural park. There are a lot of places to sit, camp. There are several ponds in which to swim. And this place is packed with wildlife and nature. You can hike, do some birding, do some swimming. This is Las Conchas Waterfall. The next one is, it's two actually, two in one. Chimel and Santa Avelina Waterfalls. These are located in Quiche, San Juan Cotzal, and it's part of the Ixel Triangle. And these waterfalls are kind of spread out. Oh, wow. Look at that. So pretty. It's a lot of hiking, a lot of swimming. The second waterfall has a well-maintained pool. They even have changing rooms there, so you could change into your swimsuit. They think these are the two probably most underrated waterfalls in Guatemala, at least by tourists. So if you love nature and outdoor activities, this cool water is great for swimming on a hot Guatemalan day. Here's the Sachichaj Waterfall. It's located near Coban. It is 15 feet high. Here's a look at this one. Oh, that looks like a dream, doesn't it? 15 meters high, spills out into this cobalt blue lagoon. Great for swimming. Probably, they say, one of the most beautiful waterfalls in Guatemala. Again, this is from GoGuatemalaTravel.com. The lagoon and the Sachichaj River are stunning, surrounded by green trees and plants, suitable for outdoor lovers looking for adventure and swimming. But getting here is a huge adventure, not for us because we're already here, but they say it's best if you pair it with a visit to Coban, since if you're in that town, you can get guides and tours, or you can book a stay at Finca Sacmoc, which is very close to this waterfall. Sure is pretty. The next one, also spectacular, called La Igualdad Waterfall. It's in an eco park near San Marcos, Guatemala. And take a look at this. This is high drama waterfall category. It's a big hike, but it's a worthy hike, apparently, packed with beautiful views, Guatemalan wildlife, rivers, and the waterfall itself, of course, as you see here, is gorgeous, unspoiled, and not a lot of people go here. So most of the time when you get here, you have it all to yourself. Near the fall, there's an almost natural pool to swim in. So very, very pretty. The next one is called Los Amates Waterfall. It's a large rocky waterfall located in the south part of Guatemala. And to get here, you have to cross a river in a 4x4 vehicle. I mean, wow. I think I'll settle for looking at it this way, but it is pretty impressive, I will say. Besides taking a bath in the pool beneath this waterfall, you can put on a harness and a helmet and rappel right there over the waterfall. Rocks and trees surround the fall, a great view for anyone trying to get some outdoor activities in. And because it's so hard to get to, it is never crowded out here. So that's pretty impressive. They say if you're going to see these waterfalls, you've got to get some sturdy footwear, a swimsuit, a quick dry towel, bug repellent, snacks, a first aid kit. We don't need that, but you know. And the best place to stay, kind of the most central spot for all of these waterfalls, Antigua, because there are tour operators and trips that can be booked from there. So very cool, very beautiful waterfalls. Wow. I want to say my favorite is the one prior to this. Nope, two prior to this. It's this one because it just looks like Fantasy Island, doesn't it? Something pretty amazing. And that, my friends, is Waterfall Wednesday. Woohoo! I hope it provided you a little relaxation, little moment to appreciate the beauty of the world. Because that's what we need on the After Party Live, right? That's why we do. That's why we do what we do. The After Party Live is funded by you. So thank you for everyone who contributes to this show. Wes today tossing in another $5. Thank you. James S. set up a recurring payment every month, throws in a little bit to the After Party Live. Yesterday, Wes contributed as well. Delette with her recurring PayPal payment. Deidre L. as well. All the PayPal information can be found in the About tab and also every single day in the show description. And that goes for the Mark Thompson Show, for this show, for Nikki's show. So thank you for all the ways that you support us, and especially this little show, to keep on moving. I really appreciate all the help. I wanted to show you Wes bought a robot, and I think he said he sent me a video of his new robot, which is it? Which it was supposed to be. I don't know if I have it, Wes. I might have to find you on Facebook. Okay, so this was supposed to be $6,000 and then ended up being $10,000 because of tariffs. But it's super, super cool. And I think I'm going to have to go to the Mark Thompson Show fan discussion page, but I cannot possibly end this show without showing you the robot. It's pretty amazing. When it first came, it was just kind of laying there. And Wes figured out how to use it and what to do with it. Oh, I really want it. I'm trying to find the video. Oh, here it is. Okay, I have this video. I have to stop the waterfalls so I can show you Wes's video. And it's I don't know. I want to talk to Wes, or maybe Wes is in the chat and can tell us what what this robot is supposed to do rather than just kind of march around the house. But here's Wes's robot. Apparently the dog kind of freaked the dogs out a little bit. There's the robot. So there it is. Yeah, the robot freaks out the dogs. So Wes said 2 of the dogs kind of acclimated, but one, Olivia, ran outside and went to the garage and wouldn't come back in while the robot was operating. Now, I don't know what this robot is supposed to do. I mean, it's cool. I don't know if it's going to fold Wes's laundry or do the dishes. It's kind of short. It's almost like the size of a kindergartner, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to the chat. Wes, what's it supposed to do? Rev says that'll keep the dogs entertained. You don't know. Where is Wes? Do we have him? Yeah. Blue Spark says, I don't blame the dog. Wes says it was dark. It's AI programmable robot. Okay. And robotics have always been Wes's hobby. Yeah. Uses AI and it's trainable. Is it hard to train it? And what are you going to train it to do? Are you going to train it to, like, I don't know, pick up the dog poop from outside? Because that'd be something I don't want to do. And I would love the robot to do it. I could think of a bunch of things I'd want to train it to do. And I think the dogs will get used to it. I don't know. I think it's cool. I love that this is your hobby. You make some really cool things. And here you are, jumping into the commercial robotics. You're probably one of the first people to have a robot in your house. Zero Sum says the robot beats up the mailman. Oh, no, I don't think so. No, I'm learning how to use it still. We'll see. It has it start small and make progress. Okay, you keep us informed. Let us know what it's going to do. I kind of like the way it just marches around the house. I'll turn off the, can I turn, I don't think I can turn off the sound. Well, let's finish the video. Yeah. See, it's got this cool little march. I love it. Wes, thank you for sharing that. I'm so glad we could put that on the show. That's awesome. Please keep us updated. Send more videos. Let us know what you train it to do. And was it a good purchase? What do you think? I can't wait to hear more from you and what you have in store for this robot. Mindy says you should have it take the trash out. I like this. Nice. Tammy says, yeah, I could have used a robot when I had 3 dogs. Excellent. Doug says there's probably a market for people that are disabled. Like maybe it could go get something from the kitchen for you, whatever. Yeah. Rev says, wait till you wake up to the robot looking over you. I bet you can turn it off, like, at night when you don't need it. Maybe plug it in. I don't know. Does it have a prime directive? Who knows? Yeah. It wasn't cheap, but it's super cool. And I cannot wait to hear reports from Wes about it. Just kind of glad you bought it because I want to live along with you and see what this thing does. It'll run itself back on, turn itself back on. Yeah, plug itself in. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have robot updates from Wes. Wes says it falls, it gets up on its own. AI trained means it can walk with a joystick, and if it hits cracks or falls down, the AI learning routines deal with it. Okay, nice. Doug says the robot telling you, you can't do that, Dave. You can't do that, Wes. I don't know. Okay, please give us robot updates. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Have a really great rest of your Wednesday. Tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show, John Aravosis will join us, also David Katz. So it's going to be a great show. And I look forward to seeing you. And then, of course, it's Trivia Thursday here on the After Party Live. But between now and then, make it a really great rest of your Thursday. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.